So, and finally, you have the option for e-signing, which is what I recommend you use. It's going to be a lot faster and simple for your clients too. So you filled the contract out, you saved it to the folder, you came in, you found it, and you said single file action, digitally sign SW. All right, cool. So here's what it looks like, right? So it says selected forms. It'll show you your form. And then over here, it's got your email address. It comes from you automatically, and you give it a title. You'll definitely want to give it something descriptive, guys, so it makes sense because that gets embedded to the email to your clients. So in this case, we were dealing with 12345 CAA Street, and we'll call that lease agreement, right? Something that your clients will understand. It also makes sense to you. If they need to sign this document by a certain date, you can choose that date. So they got to sign it by Saturday. So when I choose the 21st, that means that on the 20th at 11:59 p.m., if they have not signed it yet, when it turns midnight and becomes the 21st, it will not let them sign it. All right, and it'll tell them instead to contact you at your email address and that the document was expired. All right. If you do nothing, it'll stay there for 6 months by default. If you mouse over, it tells you. All right. So again, it just comes from your email address. You give it a name. In this case, we're going to have 2 signers. And I'm going to choose, let's make up a couple of my own here. All right. So let's say that this was Jim and, you know, the two clients that we were dealing with, Jim and Jill, their email addresses, right? Come down here and click on Submit and Customize Signing Locations. Now there's 2 options. Default signing locations will go ahead and send it out right away, but you don't get a chance to quickly look over your contract with the e-signature locations first. And so I always recommend doing the customize so you can actually eyeball the signature locations to make sure they're in the correct spot prior to sending. So submit and customize signing locations. And while that's processing, you saw the CC emails there under signers. That's if you want to send a copy of this signed contract to another email address other than you and the tenants that are signing it. And it'll automatically fire a copy off to that person. So it could be maybe one of your office managers in the office. So he or she could file that document away into some other system for long-term storage. So that's always a nice little tool. Okay, so once we said submit and customize, it summarizes the set of documents that we have that we're sending out to who to sign. In this case, we have 1 CAA Street lease agreement, which was all those pages in as one giant lease, and these 2 people need to sign it, right? And you get the direct sign now option, guys. Now, if you have your laptop or your phone or your tablet, and you happen to be sitting next to these clients, you can have them literally click direct sign now and sign it right here and now, without actually worrying about email. And they'll still get an automatic copy in their email at the end, but they can sign it right then and there with you in front of them, which is nice. So that's always an option, direct sign now. But in this case, we want to eyeball before we send it, before we click on invite signers here. Before we do that, we want to click on edit signing locations. What this does is it gives us the ability to review our contract one last time and make sure that truly these signatures are in the correct spot. So you can mouse down with your fingers, right? And just scroll them on the mouse. And you can look. So notice it does have Matt at Forms R Us and Matt at UFAX listed as 2 of the residents that need to sign. In the upper left corner will be a list of all the people that need to sign this. So if you had 4 tenants, all 4 email addresses will be listed up here, right? That you could choose where to put stamps. And so I can move these. Notice how I can just click and drag and move these stamps around. And this is the small signature stamp. I recommend using it because it's smaller and it fits in spots better. Our stamps are clear, which is nice, so they won't cover up anything, any text on your contracts. And so they'll pretty much fit anywhere you need them to. But we've pre-tagged all of the CAA forms for you on our e-signing system, so you don't have to spend time dragging and dropping where the signatures and the initials and the dates go. And as you can see, so far that's accurate, right? We're cruising down through and we're reviewing this contract. or set of documents that are making up the lease agreement. And we're just making sure that, oh, yep, that's in the right spot, no problem. And if they're not in the right spot, or if you need another one, right? Let's say that on this page, this bed bug addendum, for whatever reason, let's say they needed to initial it, okay? And you didn't see the initials. They weren't pre-tagged because they're not there, but you want them initialed. So you go up here to Manage Forms or Us, scroll down to the Initials tool, click on Initials, and notice it actually has Manage Forms or Us for initial. Then choose the other tenant, which in this case is the ufax.net email address, and I'll click on Initials, and then I'll put that there. So this way we're forcing both tenants to initial in this spot on this addendum, right? So that's how you can add additional things and items to your document as you're going through and reviewing it, and which is why I always recommend submit and customize so you can see for yourself that everything's in the correct spots. And so you're going down and you're almost finished and you're like, yep, that looks good, everything's correct. So you're done. Now you're happy with this contract. You've noticed that everything is pre-tagged properly. All right, awesome. So to save that one field that I hit the little blue disc, and notice it says, you'll get a green bar that says documented saved successfully. So that means that it froze our initials into that bedbug addendum page that we added, right? And also, let's say that you forgot to type something on one of these pages. For example, here, smoking is prohibited. And you're like, oh man, I forgot to, they're allowed to smoke in the barn, and now I got to go back and into the contract, and I got to edit the form and save it, and then repeat all this process, right? Well, you don't have to do that. We have this other great tool on your e-signing tool on the left here called Label. So this Label tool can save you. So you click Label, and you could say smoking is allowed in the barn only. So, and you click Add Location, and then up here you'll notice it puts it at the top, and then you can drag that text where you want it to be. All right. So this gives you one last chance to superimpose some text and fill out your contract, so to speak, with text prior to sending it to your client. So what I just went ahead and said smoking is prohibited except the following areas, and we said, hey, it's allowed in the barn, right? Click Save, Exit. And it says, do you want to save changes? Yes, I do. And now invite signers. Invite all signers and complete? Yes. And it says success. Your documents have successfully been sent for e-signing, right? So now what we're doing is awaiting for signatures from that. So you leave, you come back, you log into your My Profile, signature requests. Newest to oldest, every e-signing request you've ever sent is here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 CAA lease street agreement. It's unsigned, and these two people are waiting on. And here's what it looks like when your clients get the email, guys. So it says CAA documents are awaiting your signature, right? And it says, hello to the tenant, welcome to the CAA e-signature program. A member of CAA has prepared documents titled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 CAA Street Lease Agreement. That's why it's important to give that e-signing request a good description so your clients know what it is. And then all they do is right here as they read through, click here to sign your documents. So they do that, and they agree to the e-signing disclosure. And then they're in the signing room, right? And this is your personal signing room. You all have the ability to upload your own photo or your company logo here. You can add your name, your email address, and your company phone number. As you guys can see, I am an Optimus Prime fan. I love Transformers. So Optimus is my logo. When I click on click here to review and sign, this is what your clients are going to see. So it tells them signing instructions, review and sign in 10 locations, right? So they get started. It kind of walks them right through it, right? And they can either keep clicking next to all the correct spots, and they can also just hit the tab key. So right now I'm just hitting the tab key. Now I'm going to skip that initial, right? I'm just going to act like I'm too cool for school and I'm tired of all these 500 documents, and I'm just going to sign the one just as fast as I can, and I'm probably missed a few, right, on purpose. All right, and then when I click next, it says, hey, not so fast. It brings them right back and says, hey man, you need to do this. So, oh, okay, I missed that one. Next, and it says, oh, you also missed this one. Now, if I type my name wrong, and notice what it says, all signature locations have to have the same name. So it's very good to keeping things consistent, which is great for compliance for you and your contracts. Once I complete it and it's happy, you get this message at the top. I'm applying my e-signature and finish and submit. And then it thanks you. You have successfully signed the documents, right? So now back over here, if we hit refresh, notice our 12345 CEA Street lease agreement is now partially signed because Matt at Forms R Us signed it. We're still waiting on Matt at UFAX, right? So to complete the agreement, I'll just go in here, I'll direct sign it now because obviously we don't need to see what it looks like twice, but I do want you to see quickly what it looks like finished. All right, so I'm going to zip through this, get started, and we'll just go ahead and cruise through this whole thing and do the same thing. And you can see the other stamps that's already been signed on the other, just above, as to what the e-signing stamp looks like. There is an option, guys, if you want to have them sign with their finger, if they have a touch device like an iPad or a phone or Surface. There's an option when you send out for e-signatures. There's a button there that says allow them to finger sign. Right? And what's nice about that is if they don't have a finger signing device, there's a button that says type my name instead, so they can always do that. Right, so right now I'm just signing for Jill Smith. We already signed for Jim. We're getting close to being done with this. Some of you may ask a question about the e-signing. Can we just adopt the signature and let it flood through? We could, but since these are really important documents, whether it's rentals or housing, we prefer that people take an extra 3 or 4 seconds for each contract they sign or each form and actually type their name. So that's kind of done on purpose for that reason. So now if we come back into our forms list and my profile signature requests, notice the status is now signed. So these 2 email addresses will automatically get a copy of the signed contract, and you, the property manager, will also automatically have a signed copy. You can come in here and click View Signed Document. So here it is as a PDF, fully signed, right? There's the 2 e-signing stamps all the way through, and you have a document ID. So all the things that are required for e-signing compliance is built in, and you're finished. So if I go back to the final signed document, it will say it's complete, right? And here's a copy of my rental package. So it's really that simple. So to fire it out. So again, it's under Save Forms and Documents. When you're inside of a folder, you get next to the file that you're dealing with, whether it's a PDF that you uploaded. I can do that now. So I can say Upload New Documents. I can click on Choose Files. I can go in here and say I want a new addendum. Maybe it's I'll just get this addendum here and upload that. So there it is, right? I got this in PDF, and at this point with the PDF, I can quickly just view it. So it's just an addendum. But notice that I can also send it out for e-signing, right? Or I can send that PDF and that contract out with a multi-file action, right? Or if you're visual, when you select multiple files, click Process Queue. It'll show you the documents you're dealing with at the top, and down here's everything you can do with those documents. You can still send it for e-signing, right? If it's a document that you've uploaded yourself that you're sending out for e-signing, you would need to locate the signatures. Remember, the CAA forms from the Forms List tab are pre-tagged, but when you upload your own third-party document, we don't know where those go. So you'll want to make sure you click, submit and customize signing locations, and then drag those signature stamps where they go.